Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Thriving with Rachael and Dr. Lou. I know last week we talked a lot about decreasing social media, and I know we touched on maybe wanting to explore mindfulness a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I think it's something we throw around a lot.
But we never really identify what is mindfulness.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's many definitions. We probably should have looked it up before we got on here. But what's your take on mindfulness?
Don't tell them that. Of course, we know exactly what that. To me, mindfulness is an awareness, right? It's tuning in to the present moment and what's going on within me and around me, and by taking that pause to just listen, to look around, to feel, using those senses to really ground you in the current moment of your life, and noticing what that is, what it's like, what's going on, to me is mindfulness.
Yeah, I think that's not only physically how I'm feeling, but what I'm paying attention to. To your point, am I aware of my surroundings? I think it involves being still, and I think that's really hard for us in our society, but also just, if you're somebody who's typically running around, I'm usually that person who's always doing something. And so being mindful might not mean I'm not doing something, but when I'm doing the thing, am I grounded and aware of what thing I'm doing? Or am I going through my day on autopilot, or just kind of breezing through the day and looking back like, oh my gosh, and kind of hitting the bed with my heart pounding kind of thing at the end of the day. So do you think that's hard for people to be mindful?
I think from a societal stance, we are reinforced to constantly be on the go, to do more, to achieve more, to put in more, bigger foods, get any kind of job there is. Like nowadays, most jobs are no longer 8 hours.
Right.
Like there's always
unlimited
stuff that you're doing at home. I think because of technology, we have the ability to work anywhere, as we've seen in the last year and a half.
Yeah.
And because of that, we tend to just do that. And I think there's really no pause in our day. There's no break.
No boundary with ourselves.
Yeah. And I think, I'm guilty of this myself. There are times where, finally at the end of the day, it's just before bed that I try to just be present. Partly that's exhaustion, partly I'm just tired, but I'm wondering, when my day throughout the day is interspersed with moments of taking that pause and just noticing what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, where am I going, what do I want to do, kind of just tuning in with myself, my day's a lot better. Like I feel more in control. I was going to say more intentional, I feel like. Very much I'm choosing the things that I'm doing, as opposed to, oh my gosh, where did the day go? Which is honestly a phrase I hear from myself very often. Like, oh my gosh, or I got nothing done today. When I got a ton of things done, it just wasn't all the things on this list, or as many things or other things have come up. But to your point, it convinces me if I'm not present, I'm not mindful or aware of where I'm making those choices, it feels like my life is being run instead of me making choices and feel like you said, feeling in control. Yeah. So how do you feel like, I know you said that you'd want to be doing that more during the day. What stops you from doing that? I think the automatic actions of daily life, like you were just describing, instead of me kind of scheduling and planning my day, as in most of our situations, life happens, right? So many things in my day are not part of what I planned. It's, a lot of my time is an open day, and then it just gets filled. Right. And it's because I'm in that position where I need to respond to things as they occur in the moment. And that's why I don't always have things scheduled, but I'm constantly busy. Right. So if I was to try to create more of that time, it would almost have to be scheduled in some ways. And unfortunately, I don't always do that. I don't always make that intentional time to just sit and notice what's going on as much as I would like to. Some days I do. Some days I actually will, today, for example, I came in here and had something to eat because it was been like 6 hours since I ate. So I was starving. I don't even know what I ate. Right? But other times I want to like take that time and like put my phone aside, shut my computer down, and actually just eat.
So maybe that would be setting reminders or alarms on your phone throughout the day, that's the association. Or there are certain times that I've associated mindfulness with particular tasks that I just already do, even on busy days, like brushing my teeth in the morning or making my bed or driving to somewhere, and I try to coin or associate those particular behaviors with mindfulness to get to your point of like, what am I doing? Where am I going? What's my next step? As opposed to, being in the car, listening to music, talking to someone on the phone, trying to catch up with whatever email at the red light, like being mindful, like just being in the car, like you said, or being in whatever action that I'm taking or whatever it might be. Do you feel like that's something attainable, or do you feel like that would be hard too?
Yes. I think it's difficult, and the level of difficulty varies per person, right? Sure. But is it attainable? Absolutely. I think all of us can attain that.
Gotta make it intentional though. And
I think that's the key. It has to be intentional. Make a decision to try it. Maybe this week. Yeah, and maybe even starting off your day with mindfulness and being grounded, because I think, at least for me, when I start off the day that way, it's a lot easier to notice when I shift from being mindful and content or wherever I'm at in the day. I can notice it more if I start my day in a more mindful space, and I think that'll also reinforce the practice throughout the day, because then when you notice that shift, it'll kind of alert you of, oh, hey, I'm a little bit more elevated, or I'm not quite in the space that I originally had intended. So that could also be another way of doing that. So, and just a reminder, this takes lots of practice.
Yes.
So if it doesn't come naturally, or it doesn't seem to be as good as you'd like it to be, it's okay.
Right. Which is why we're trying to flex that muscle. We're trying to be intentional about it, because the more intentional, the more automatic it'll become.
Awesome.
We'll see you next week, guys.
Good luck.